Hey guys, how you doing? It's Chad Smith doing that deadlift Q&A I talked about. Just finished pulling PR 765 for a double. Best there was 750 for two before that. Then did some back down sets, 585 for 3 sets of 3 on 90 seconds rest. So I had a couple questions from Facebook that I wanted to answer people. Most common theme in those questions was what kind of supplementary work or assistance work I'm doing for the deadlift. The main stuff for me that I use is deficit pulls, which I'll do later in the training session today. I'm bad off the floor, so I think that's what really helps me out the most. But I had a lot of questions regarding improving lockout strength. Lockout is not an issue that I've had, so I don't do a lot of direct work for that. But if you're having to choose between rack pulls, which I think are a very common exercise to try and fix that, choosing between rack pulls or pulling against bands or chains, I would definitely pull full range against bands or chains, because I think rack pulls a lot of times they're a real separate exercise. It puts you in a different starting position. Your shin angle is different. It just screws up your mechanics. So using a full range pull against bands or chains will be better there. Doing that even as speed work and not heavy can work as well, because I think the best way to get through a sticking point at the top is to generate so much speed and momentum through the bottom portion of the lift that you just blast through that sticking point. So if you want to include the speed work in there with bands or chains, I think that's going to definitely be a good idea, not just to improve bar speed, but also to improve your lockout. As far as assistance movements go, main ones that I use are bent over rows, GHRs, and deadlift hyperextensions. Obviously bent over rows and GHRs, you guys know those. If you're not familiar with a deadlift hyperextension, all it is a 45-degree back raise, and you perform a deadlift at the same time as doing the 45-degree back raise. So imagine if I was on the back raise, you're just taking the bar from the floor there. So it's like a super strict straight leg deadlift. Josh Bryant introduced me to those. You want to go heavy on those though. Those are really going to improve glute and low back strength. And I've seen videos of Orlando Green doing up to like 500 pounds for 3 to 5 reps. I think I've gone to 365-ish. Those are definitely a good exercise. You know, a lot of people swear by reverse hypers. I've never used them very much for my own training. I do think they're definitely a good exercise, but I would encourage you when you're doing them to keep them lighter and do them real strict as opposed to the swinging action. Even though the swinging action, gets kind of lauded for its restorative benefits, I think it actually will hurt you in the long run because it's putting you into anterior pelvic tilt at the bottom of every movement, which is something you don't want to happen. Other questions I got were about balancing squat, deadlift, and event training. Right now I have one squat and deadlift day and one event day, which are days 1 and 6 of my 9-day program. So I have a 5-day break between pulling and events, and then a 3-day break between events and the next deadlift day. 2 of those days are completely off for just aerobic capacity work. And then I alternate weekly between the squat and the deadlift. So this week I'm going to deadlift heavy for the double, and now we're going to squat for reps. And next week I'll squat to a heavy double and then come back and deadlift for reps. So that's how I balance those 2 out. Also on my deadlift day, I'll use my main deadlift supplementary work, which are going to be deficit pulls, and on the squat day, do my main squat supplementary work, which is the dead squat, or Anderson squats. So the pins, set the pins about 1 inch above parallel, and it's just a bottoms up squat. And I'm doing those deficit pulls and dead squats all for singles on short rest periods. And let's see. I think there are a lot of questions about lockout strength and grip strength. I don't have a great grip. I don't have a lot of advice to offer there. The only thing I would say is if you don't have a great grip and you compete in powerlifting, not strongman, where straps aren't allowed, don't train with straps. Now that I compete in strongman, I can use the straps, but obviously my grip is getting a lot of work in farmers and all that kind of stuff. And I also don't use straps on my lighter sets, my back down sets and stuff. And then lockout work, I talked before about the speed work, but also doing things to improve your glute strength, like barbell glute bridges or the deadlift hyperextensions. Those would be great. And also just there's a lot of glute activation drills you can do, like clamshells, band resisted, like lateral walks, either bands around the ankles or you're stepping on the bands, just walking laterally like that. Those will really help fire up your glutes before your training and help you improve your lockout. So hopefully that answers everyone's question. Thank you.